Wendover, a small town on the brink of the Utah Salt Flats, base for the combined Austin Healey and MG teams, here to make new record attempts on the wide expanse of crystalline salt. Time, September 1959. Object, to break existing international Class G records. And here is the Sprite, dubbed X219. She's been built on the lines of the previous Goldie Gardner and George Easton record cars. Her prime purpose is to exceed 150 miles per hour and take the 5-mile record which Gardner has held since 1937 at 144.6. She's on her way to the flats, where 3 top racing drivers will put her through her paces in what will essentially be an endurance test for the 950cc 4-cylinder supercharged engine. There is much to be done before the Sprite makes her attempt. Famous English driver Tommy Wisdom, Gus Ehrman from New York, and Ed Levens of Canada will attempt the 12-hour record run in stages. Tommy Wisdom takes the first and last laps. Existing record is 118.13 miles per hour, set up in 1957. The drivers are dependent on the highly trained crews who plan the track and check the car. They cannot afford to take chances. During the winter, the flats are covered in water, and they begin to dry out in summer, leaving certain areas hard, flat, and smooth. The track area has been tested, and now this oil tanker is laying the track, a perfect circle of exactly 10 miles. The dredger follows, flattening the course, seeking out the bumps. The salt ridges are only an inch or so high, but they could mean disaster at top speeds. So this is an essential operation. The timing cables must be accurate. They will record the driver's speed. In a short while, he will be racing over them at 59 miles per hour in second gear, accelerating to a possible 159 miles per hour in top. Salt temperature is taken. It must be just right for the tires to grip, and the atmosphere temperature too is important. The crews are divided into 2 shifts for tomorrow's record attempt. One section is working through the night, while the other gets some sleep. The cockpit is cowled, fully enclosing the driver, and the long-distance fuel tank takes up the passenger space. The Sprite develops 70 brake horsepower at 5,400 revs per minute for 135 miles per hour, using a 2.88 to 1 axle ratio. In a few hours, the Sprite will be ready to face the salt wastes. This is what the boys have worked so hard for, a new record. It's the big day. Nerves are strained, tension is high, but weather conditions are almost ideal for the drivers. A 4 miles per hour north breeze keeps the flats pleasantly cool. Tommy Wisdom is taking the first stint, and he gets a last-minute briefing from George Easton, who knows the flats intimately. George is the link between the various members of the team. He keeps everyone informed. Tommy dons his headgear. With 30 years' experience, he is more at home in long-distance racing and endurance trials than anything else. His international successes are legend. And now, it's up to Tommy. A stopwatch check. He's doing fine. Making good time. But time is still precious. Tommy's 42 laps were exemplary, although it took him just under 2 laps to get used to the track. There's a lot for the team to do during the brief stop. And meanwhile, Gus Ehrman, the second driver, chats to Tommy. He gets a few pointers on hazards. The car is checked. Oil, water, tyre pressure and temperature. The fuel tank is topped up to its 30-gallon limit. The Sprite is built to give the driver the minimum of worry. Fresh air is fed to him from the front of the car to the cockpit. He can control the inflow of air with a lever on the instrument panel. It can get hot in that enclosed space at high speeds. Now Gus Ehrman takes the controls. His run will take about 3 hours. Checked and refueled, the Sprite moves out to face the elements. Here, the timing cables register the Sprite's progress. They're up to schedule, but there are still 2 spurts to go. The team has not run on the salt so late in the year before, and the 14 hours of daylight gives the drivers only a small margin for a 12-hour run. The first and last driver, Tommy Wisdom, has the sun directly in his face on some parts of the circle. The flats are unpredictable. Under the salt is hard mud, but it is soft in places where a stream runs underneath the surface. Canada's best sports car driver, Ed Levins, prepares for his section. By the way, they're after the American 12-hour record as well, which calls for a flying start, so the total run includes an extra lap. Tommy and George Easton discuss the 12-hour race to beat time over a cup of tea. The minutes and hours tick by as colleagues wait for more news of the Sprite's progress. Tommy will soon be going out to make the final stint. Ed Levins pulls in, and Tommy takes over for the last section, perhaps the toughest run of all. In another 3 hours, it will all be over. And they've done it. The new 12-hour record stands at 138.75 miles per hour, 3 miles faster than the target, and taking 8 other international G records on the way. But with the Sprite records in the bag, the team runs into trouble. Rain has drenched the salt flats, flooding the course. Several days are lost before Phil Hill can take out the MG to tackle the 2-litre record set up in 1957 at 245 miles per hour. At last the salt dries out sufficiently to allow the record attempt, although the southern end of the course is still very wet, with traction at a minimum. The MG, listed X219, will try to exceed 250 miles per hour. Everyone has doubts about its chances. The condition of the flats are nowhere near as good as they were for the Sprite runs. The 40 miles of telephone and timing cables necessary for the run have been under half an inch of water, but everyone is keeping his fingers crossed. Phil Hill checks the controls and gets the feel of the car before the run. Steering all right? Petrol topped up? Will she make it? Phil discusses the attempt with George Easton and the crew. The big moment has arrived. The nerve-wracking run has come to an end without mishap. The mean speed through the mile and kilo has topped 250 miles per hour, and the 10-mile figure is raised to the astonishing speed of 190 miles per hour. Now everyone can relax. Until next time, B.M.C has done it again.